There are so many other things that I want to talk about, you guys, but if you want to hear more, I can actually do another video for you. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and get into the Q&A. But first, she's going to take a sip of this mimosa. So, there were a couple that I didn't get printed out, so I want to answer those first. Or maybe I don't. So someone asked, how did you decide on a builder? So as I said, there was builder A and builder B, and the only way I know how to describe it, you guys, same thing with the community that I live in. It's just as if God guided me. It was like that was the only thing I could see. That was the only option. This community was the only place I wanted to live. There was not another community that I wanted to live in. This was it. The builder that I went with was the only builder that I wanted to build with. Like, that was it. One thing I really love about the builder that I chose. So the builder is a man, but the lady who designs the homes, she's his wife and she's a woman. So it's got all these beautiful archways and rounded corners as opposed to straight corners, and just really, the homes are really beautiful, and they've all got these really beautiful names that mean something in Italian. So it's very special. But as I said, to me, there wasn't a choice. When you're being led by God, it was no like either or, it just was, if that makes sense. So yeah. Let's see, what is the process of getting a home built? So just to keep it really basic, first you pick your lot. If you have a lot premium, and I think somebody asked me about that, if you have a lot premium, which I did because I have a huge lot, you guys have seen it in pictures on Instagram, then that is something that has to be paid up front. I think you can either pay it up front or you can wrap it into your loan. I paid mine up front. So that's the first thing. You pick your lot, you pay your lot premium, and then at that time is when you are going to sign your sales contract, basically saying, yes, I commit to buy this home, I commit to securing financing. And at that time is when you put your earnest money check down. Now, earnest money can range from, $1,500 all the way to $15,000. It just really depends on your builder and like incentives that they offer, things like that. I don't want to start rambling. So you do that. So Debbie, who was my sales representative, whatever you want to call her, told me that the process would take 4 to 5 months. In reality, it took 6 months. I would say after you put your earnest money down, they spend like the first 1 to 2 months pulling all the permits. After that, they're going to stake out your lot, and then they put the wood down and like the footing or whatever. They pour your foundation, they frame, and then they sheetrock. After they sheetrock your home, you have 45 days until close about. And you guys, I estimated my exact closing date. I think I was a week early. I said October 5th, which is actually the day that I had my walkthrough, and I ended up closing on October 12th, and it was only because there was like a lot of rain. So yeah, so that's the process. I hope that answered the question. How did you pick the area? So same thing. I wouldn't say that I picked this area. I would honestly say that God picked it for me. So I have been living across the street from the community that I live in for 3 years. I actually stumbled upon living in this area by accident and didn't even start taking interest or noticing this neighborhood until, I can't really remember, but after my dad came and we looked at it, it's honestly the only community I could see myself living in. So yeah. So I'm gonna go through all of these now. I printed them out. So someone asked me, one of the questions is, what was your favorite part about the building process? So I've got 3 favorite parts. So going and seeing the gone sign on the lot was incredible. I cried. I've got pictures. That was amazing. Them finally pouring the foundation was incredible. And then the day that, after stalking it for days, I pulled up and they were framing my house was like, it was nothing short of amazing. So how much did you spend just building it? If that's too personal, just ignore. So as I said, I'm not going to talk prices, but as I did say, I did have to pay a lot premium, which I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with that. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. What is your favorite feature part about your home? So we're actually looking at it. It is something that did not come with the house, but it is this beautiful custom built fireplace wall that I had designed for my home. I'm absolutely in love with it. It's really massive and it's absolutely beautiful. And I actually have the fire going right now because it's like 85 degrees in Texas today, so it's like winter. But yeah, this is definitely the favorite part of my home. It's absolutely stunning. So let's see. How do you know it won't flood over there? Everywhere in Houston floods. So this is actually a really good question. I actually don't live in Houston. I live about 45 minutes to an hour outside of Houston in a suburb. And the area that I live in is all brand new. So they've got brand new drainage. Everything is brand new drain systems, but it actually sits up higher than Houston, if that makes sense. So as I said, I've been living out here for 3 years now in total, including the 1 year that I've been in my house. And so I was here through Harvey, and it literally, nothing flooded. The streets didn't even flood. So thank God for that. So it does not flood out here. What were some things you wish you knew before starting this process? Honestly, TBH, nothing. As I said, because my dad had built our second home for my mom, they were both able to walk me through everything from like freaking out about the mortgage or going back and forth with the lender to the building process, to my dad explaining to me like what they were doing and me sending him pictures and saying, what's this? Like literally there's nothing that I wish I knew. So are you going to get a custom closet done eventually instead of the IKEA one that you have? If so, what kind? So the answer is no. I am not going to pay $10,000 to $15,000 for a custom California closet when I could go to IKEA and spend $1,500 to $2,000 on my closet, which is what I have. And definitely not in this house, you guys. As I said, this is definitely, and I want to be careful how I say this because I don't want to come off sounding bratty or spoiled. My home is in no way a starter home. This is definitely someone's second or third home, or maybe possibly their dream and final home. However, for me, this is definitely not my forever home, if that makes sense. So yes, in my huge mansion, I'm gonna have California closets come design the heck out of me a custom closet, but for now, I love my IKEA closet, so the answer is no. Are you open to moving if your potential spouse wanted to move into a newer home? For sure, definitely, but that potential spouse would need to come with a plan, i.e., here's a check to pay your house off, or, you know, this is a plan to pay your mortgage off, or we're gonna keep it as a rental property or something. Like the person would have to come, you know, with a plan, because I worked hard for this home. Like I love this house. So inspiring, thank you. Were you able to save up for the house or house loan? So I think you mean, did I save up for my house and did I get a loan? So I did not save up for my house, and let me explain that. I didn't save up for my house, meaning that the money that I used for my down payment, it had already been sitting in savings. So no, I did not save up for my house. However, I kind of did, because in the 6 months that it took to build my house, so you figure from April to October, I saved a ridiculous amount of money and was able to pay my closing costs and buy brand new furniture for every single room in my new house and still have a ton of money left over. I did all that in 6 months, so. A girl can do a lot when she puts her mind to it. So, and then definitely a house loan, you guys. I don't know how rich you think I am. You guys think I'm rich. She got a good old mortgage, okay? And I'm all too happy to pay it every month, okay? Yes, definitely got a mortgage. Of course, the goal is to be able to buy the house outright, but for sure, she got a mortgage. So, good question though. Is it easier to build your own home first or buy one already built? Easy, I don't know, because you have to keep in mind the process is essentially the same whether you buy or build. You still have to secure financing and you still have to go through closing. You still have to pay closing costs. You just don't get all the fun of having everything be brand new and picking everything out. So really, honestly, it just depends on what's right for you. At this point in my life, I'm gonna say that I would never buy a home that I didn't build. I definitely would buy a home that someone else has lived in already. Even with my apartments, I've always been like, I wanna be the first one living there. So, but after building my first home, I think it's like getting a tattoo or like things like that that become addicting. I'm definitely just gonna keep building, so. But easier, I'm not sure, I don't know. Did you have a designer to help you or did you do it on your own? I did not have a designer. I literally picked everything out myself. Keep in mind that from October of 2017, when I started looking at these houses, up until April of 2018, when I paid my earnest money deposit and picked out all of the bells and whistles, I had been dreaming and fantasizing about this for months, if not a year. So I had everything picked out, from my countertops to my floors to the shutters that are outside to the brick. Like, I had everything picked out. So it was very easy for me to go in there in one day and say, I want this, and be very sure about it. So no designer. Do you think you rushed it so a year from now you would think, oh, I want something else? No, definitely not. As I said, like, this is something that I had been wanting and longing for at least a year before the process even started. And that November or that October when I went with my dad and started looking at homes, from then on, like, all I did was look and browse and Google and dream and fantasize. So I knew exactly in my head what I wanted, even down to the chandelier that I have in my living room. So what does someone in their 20s credit score need to be to build their first house? This is a really good question. So if you remember in the beginning of the video, I was talking about how Debbie was telling me that all you needed was a 580. So let me go to my notes. I want to let you know that it is very realistic to build maybe more like a $200,000 to $250,000 home with a 580 credit score. But when they say that, mind you that 580 is just you and that credit score. That means you don't have debt, you don't have a car payment, you don't have a student loan payment, you don't have a credit card, you don't have nothing. It's literally you, your body, and you are 580. That's all you have. And then yes, come on girl, we can get this loan. Because the way it works is they care about three main things, I guess. So your credit score, your debt to income ratio, and your actual income. So the higher credit score you have, the higher debt to income ratio you can have. So it just makes the process a lot easier. So when I built my home, when I got approved for my home or whatever, when I built my home, I had a 720 credit score. So to be honest with you, I would say 620 to 680, and I think you would be cool. Anything higher and you would be golden. So that's what I'm gonna say. I'll say 620. That's my advice. Final answer. What was the hardest part? Honestly, you guys, I was really blessed. My process was not hard. It was not difficult. I would say I was definitely exhausted. You guys, I was working 2 jobs and going to school. And I remember one particular day, like I was sitting in class and I got a call from my loan officer and like I had to go outside and spent like an hour talking to her. So I missed everything that the class was talking about. Plus she wasn't really giving me good news. And one thing that I do want to say, like when people were asking about the process, so I think a lot of people think that when you build a home, like you go there and you hand these people like a huge check. That's not how it works at all. So you pay your earnest money check, which depending on, your builder can be as little as $1,500. You pay that check and then you do not write another check unless you have like a lot premium or something, different like I did. You don't write another check until it's time to close on your home. So you figure it takes anywhere from 4 to 6 months. So you literally have 6 months to save for your home. You have 6 months to get your credit together if it's not already together, and you have 6 months to secure your financing. So basically what they do is at the very beginning, they do like a soft pull on your credit and they look at your income and they say, oh yeah, girl, of course you can buy the house. Come on, start building. So you don't actually secure your loan for your mortgage for your home. Probably I would say until like a good 1 to 2 months out. And even then, everything is not even final until close. Closing day is when you bring the check for your down payment and for your closing costs. That's when you write the big checks. So you've got a long stretch of time in between, which is super cool. But to answer your question, the hardest part was I was exhausted. I wasn't stressed out or anything, but I was very tired. I was doing a lot and I was tired. So that was the hardest part for me. Why did you decide to buy a home at such a young age? To put it simply, because that's what I saw my parents do. My parents, as I said, they're real estate investors. That's one of the many things that they do, but they've always owned their own homes. They've always owned their cars, and they built their home. So the home that I was born and raised in, my parents actually still own that home. It's a rental property, which is pretty cool. So that's all I've known my whole life. I saw my dad build a house for my mom and for us, and to me it was normal. So yeah, I don't know any different. Okay, where should your credit be to build a home? So as I said earlier, 620 to 680, I think you would be golden. Just remember, when they tell you like 580 is all you need, it's literally you, like your naked body and your 580 credit score, nothing else. Not a student loan payment, not a credit card payment, not a collections, not a old medical bill, nothing, okay? It's you and that 580. So 620, 680, you're good, baby. Anything higher, go get what you want, boo. Pick out what you want, okay? Okay. Did you build a home with the intention to start a family? No, girl, I can't even cook. How am I have a family? My baby's gonna starve. No, I'm just kidding. But no, definitely not. Okay, last page of questions. What do you do for work? You guys, I have literally beat this like a dead horse. I don't know if that's how you say that, but I work, including YouTube, I have 3 jobs. So my first and full-time job, I work for a steel company. I work in the steel industry, and my second job, I work in sales. So yeah, and then YouTube. So how much and how long did you take to save your down payment? So not gonna tell you what I put down. Oh, I have my notes. Hold on. Okay, but I am gonna give you some info about that. So your down payment, how this works is your mortgage lender will kind of tell you what you need to put down. So say you don't make enough money to afford the house that you want to buy. If you can put down more money, then that will bring down your mortgage payment, and then, oh, hey, now you can afford it. But I did put down a significant amount of money because I wanted to lower my down payment, and just because I was able to by the grace of God. And so yeah, and as I said, I did not save for my actual down payment, but to save for my closing costs and to furnish my home, it took me 5 months. Something about closing costs. Your closing costs can be anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000. And it essentially is 2 to 5% of the purchase price of the house. So say, we're just gonna use an even number. Say you paid $500,000 for your home. That was the purchase price. Your closing costs are $25,000. So there you go. But a lot of builders will give you like incentives, like they'll pay like $10,000 or $5,000 or $15,000 of your closing costs and all this cool stuff. So yeah. Let me see. Oh, any future plans, goals concerning your house, improvements or selling? So I put my fireplace in. I put the marble floors in upstairs. I do want to change the backsplash in my kitchen. And I guess that's one thing that I would change. I was having like a WTF, like, girl, what were you thinking moment? No, I don't like the backsplash. And then I'm also going to get a chandelier for the foyer. And then maybe eventually paint, but that's really it for now. And as I said earlier, I don't plan on selling this home. I would love, if God says the same, to keep it as an investment property. So right now, that's the plan. So yeah. How long did it take for the builders, contractors to actually build the house? So I signed, I think it was April 10th. About 2 months of pulling permits. So say they really started in June. I think they had the house framed in July, and then I closed in October. So what is that? October. It sounds like 7 months, but if you count the 2 months it takes them to pull the permits and things like that, we won't count that. So about 5 months, 5 to 6 months is how long it took. Oh, and then someone asked me, what do you think of the men that build these houses? I used to be one of those types of guys. You guys, I love that type of man. That's honestly my ideal man. My dad built my house for my mom. He knows how to build a house from the ground up. Like, there's not too much my daddy doesn't know how to do, and I am very fond of that. That's the type of husband I want. I want my husband to build me a house. So yeah, that's the answer to that question. Oh, this was a good one. This was the one that I wanted to touch on. Let me get my notes, girl. Classes in session. Okay, so do you have to have a certain amount in the bank to get a home built? This is a really good question. You guys are so smart. So the answer is yes and no. So closing day is what matters. Your credit on closing day, your employment status on closing day, your money in the bank on closing day, your check on closing day. Like, closing day is huge. We got to get to closing day. But so I say no because, like, they're not going to look at your bank account and say, oh, you don't have $50,000 in the bank today, so you can't start building your house. That's not how it works. But there is something called seasoning, which depending on what lender you go through, they all have different rules. It's really difficult because it's not set in stone. So seasoning essentially means that the money has to be sitting in your bank account for at least 60 days. Anything before 60 days and you're golden. Anything within 60 days, you have to provide an explanation literally for how that money got there. So every single withdrawal, deposit, or anything that you make into this particular account, they look at, and you have to provide what's called an LOE. It's a letter of explanation for what that is. So the way it works is, you can have 7 bank accounts. You do not have to give them all the information for all of the bank accounts. You only have to give your lender the information for the bank account that you want to use, that you're going to be using the money from towards your home. So for me, I had 2 different bank accounts. I had my savings account, which is the money that I used to put my down payment on my house from. That money had been in there way past 60 days, so we were golden with that. And then I had my second savings account, which was literally money that I was just transferring Zelle QuickPay right from my check-ins account. Every time I would get paid, I would just put the money in there and I would save. And that's how I saved up for my closing costs. Now that is the one that I had to do like 30 letters of explanations for. What is this deposit? What is this deposit? What is this deposit for? But it had been in there, I think by the time that I was ready to close, it had been in there for at least 60 days, so I was good. So that's why I say you do and you don't. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's tricky, okay? Oh, paper trail is also really important. As I said, there was some talk in the beginning of my process of my parents gifting me my down payment for my home. That didn't happen because she's a big girl. But if they were to do that, there is a protocol that has to be followed. So you have to show proof of how that money came to be in their account in the first place. And then they have to write you a gift letter saying, yes, I'm gifting this money, and no, you don't have to pay it back. Because why they do this is because they don't want people taking out a loan for their down payment, because then you have to add that to your debt to income ratio because you have to pay that loan back. You get me? Okay. Yeah, so you guys, that is all the information I have for you. Class is now over. There will be a pop quiz next Sunday. No, I'm just kidding. But you guys, I am so happy to be here, and I wanted to post this video because, as I said, it's my 1-year anniversary of being in my beautiful, amazing dream home is going to be on the 12th of this month. So I think by the time this video posts, it'll be the day after. So thank you so much for celebrating it with me. And I wanted to finally share the story of how I purchased this beautiful, purchased and built this beautiful, amazing dream home of mine, you guys. LTD, life to date. It's the biggest purchase I've made in my whole life. You know, it's not a Chanel boy bag, or it's a DIOR book tote, or, you know, some Gucci sneakers. This is a whole home. So it's pretty incredible. And one more thing, last thing about my savings process. So you guys, literally, when I say I didn't spend any money, she got lashes done and that's it. I did not buy one bag. I didn't go on one vacation. Deja's birthday, my best friend who I always travel with, her birthday is in November, and we had a trip planned to go to Miami and Puerto Rico. However, you know, we start planning months earlier, and you know, I'm still saving, but there's Airbnbs that have to be paid for and flights, and she literally paid for like my flight, my Airbnb, my everything for that whole trip, even though it was her birthday, knowing that I would pay her back after I closed on my home because I couldn't spend any money because I was saving. So yeah. So yeah, it was really easy for me to save, you guys, because what's a Chanel jumbo, or the new Chanel sweater, or the new Gucci sneakers, or the new Dior book tote when you're getting a house? Like, what? It was an easy option. So yeah, you guys, I hope this video has been really informative, and I hope you guys learned a lot. And if you want me to do like more videos talking about like the mortgage process and the home process, because she's an expert now, JK, I can. Just let me know in the comment section, you guys. So thank you so much for celebrating my 1-year anniversary with me, and I love you guys so much. Be sure to subscribe to my baby sister's channel. We'll link it down below. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at _officialdollface, all spelled out, all one word. And if you don't already, be sure to subscribe to me here, you guys. I post amazing lifestyle videos, lots of hauls, lots of fashion, and some inspo stuff along the way, you guys. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Woo! She's out of breath. All right, well, you guys, I love you so much, and have an amazing day.